this episode, we talk about exhausts, and the project takes a little bit of a plot twist and some sad times along the way. Welcome back to the Wank'L Pickup build series, episode 7. Thank you for tuning in. What started out as a fun little thing to keep my friends and family informed on the build process has now ended up with 6,000 viewers watching each video. It's a bit mad really, thinking that 6,000 people are watching me waffling on and talking in a strange accent and building a silly little car. But you obviously like it, so as your viewers are watching it, just think, have I subscribed to this? Click the like, click the subscribe, and give us a little boost and keep us G'd up to do these videos, because 6,000 viewers, that never comprehended in my head. I thought I'd get 6, and that being my mum, my dad, my brother, my sister, my other brother, and maybe my wife. But she does watch them, but more to give me a bit of a ribbon along the way, to be fair. But hey, it's all good fun. Anyway, what have we been up to? Keep watching to find out. A massive thank you to Cabbage Tree Productions for sponsoring this video. They've kindly offered their support in sponsoring our videos, along with the car build and a little help towards the race season next year. Fingers crossed we make it next year. I know this year was our ambition to get racing, but unfortunately life, work, business, family, racing, supporting racers gets in the way of those things sometimes. And who takes on 2 massive projects at once? I mean, this was a massive task to undertake, and I've been building my wife a workplace at home, which started and still isn't finished, much like the car. We won't go there, she keeps reminding me, and I will finish that before I finish the car. There is a promise there, so if you're listening, love, I promise you that will happen. So in episode 6, we dropped the car off at Will-Fab Motorsport for the exhaust fabrication. I was very excited to get Will on board on the project. However, unfortunately, Will's circumstances changed in as much that he had a few personal issues he needed to address. I think it's fair to say he was very stressed at that time, and me being on the phone, hello Will, what's going on? Hello Will, what's going on? Wasn't quite fair of me. So it was deemed that I was to have the car back. The car was there for a number of weeks, months in fact, and it was sort of hampering progress on the build. Because the car wasn't home with me, I wasn't able to just do the odds and sods and fiddle on and work around anything that needed doing apart from exhaust. So it was deemed that I would collect the car, and Will was perfectly fine with this. I would carry on with my niggles, and when his circumstances sort of levelled out a little bit and there was far less pressure on him, the car would return. So I thought, great, we've got a plan. I don't mind, that's fine. We've got a plan to work to. Me being me, not impatient, but me being me, thought, come on Ben, how hard can it be? So, in fairness to Will, he sold me these, supplied me these. I thought, how hard can it be? Stick that on there, match them up, get that there, weld that there, easy. Pop that on there, put that in there, we've got an exhaust. But everyone's heard the phrase pigeon shit. That's probably quite generous, to be fair. Maybe elephant shit would be more apt for that. So we had to think of another plan. It didn't seem like Will was going to be able to sort himself some time, and he had a lot pressing on him anyway, and I had to jump the queue, to be fair. I was excited to get him on board for the project, as I said, but I didn't feel like it was fair for me to try and jump the queue again and pile up more pressure on him with his circumstances. So I quickly thought, what are we going to do? And at that time we had a lovely, beautiful Ford Anglia in the workshop for some suspension work, setup and a revision of its dampers for the forces inside them. We were there, he'd come down, dropped the car off, and he basically looked at me and went, in Welsh he said, what the bloody hell are you doing? And I went, I know. Yeah, ignore my elephants. At that point I had come better. I'd managed to sort of practice a little on the TIG, and my straight line welding on a flat piece of stainless was okay. By no means pretty like exhaust fabricators would be. And he said, what are you trying to do? And I explained the situation, and he said, I've got a man. So RWI, Rob Wheeler, who assisted Glyn in building the car that you'll see in the pictures here, came down and said, yeah, we can do that. So sure enough, we set a date. He was very good, true to his word on price. In fact, he was underpriced himself and still just stuck to his word, so thank you, Rob, for that. And yeah, let's go see what he did. When we turned off the main road and the sat-nav said, go down this lane, we decided to keep going a little bit, but we resumed the rest of the journey on foot because it started to resemble a stage of the safari rally in Africa. It was so narrow, so steep, and so bumpy. So you'd never think that we're going down there to get my car. Yeah, me neither. So we're on a bit of a adventure, but we are on the way to get the car. So yeah, there is a workshop down here, and there is a skilled man that's done the exhaust, and I'm very grateful for him to turn it around very quickly. Puffing a bit, it's a bit of a long walk, so yeah. Here are some of the road conditions that we came across, thankfully on foot. But, however, Rob instructs me that being well over a mile in distance, he still holds the record for getting to the top of the lane in under 48 seconds. Concrete. So, after a brisk walk, we're nearly there. Let's go see what's going on. When we arrived with Rob, he opened the door and this is what I found. An absolutely awesome job. He'd listened to the brief, he'd listened to how I'd wanted it, and clearly knew his onions about fabrication. Somehow, Rob had managed to get these very basic looking stainless steel silencers looking very special. He'd also positioned the turbo exactly where I'd asked of him. It is in a little bit of harm's way, but it can't be helped. I couldn't think of any better position, and going forward, the turbo is on the large side, so it may well change. Thank you, Rob, for all your hard work. Let's take a moment to appreciate the work that he went into to get to this point. And, as I said, in a very short space of time. So it wasn't all work and no play. We did get to drive the Caterham for one last time at Anglesey with Lewis Careen and Dan Malkin, my two closest friends. Lewis the Power Ranger there in his Flying Phlegm, and my, I don't know, equally calf shit coloured Caterham got out on track. It does show in this picture that I did take an excursion to the grass on my actual sighting lap, shall I add, but it was a great day out. I really enjoyed my time on track for one last time in the Caterham before I put it up for sale, and getting it on the lock stops as usual. A couple of black flags later, the day came to an end very quickly. Sadly, soon after the day at Anglesey, the car got sold fairly quickly. Here it is, all scrubbed up, ready for its new owner. Thankfully, the new owner was, in fact, Dan Malkin, one of my closest friends. It's actually quite sad seeing the car go, as it is the car that has brought me the most success in motorsport. Won my class championships, broke records, all that jazz. I am thankful Dan has bought it, because it means I may well be able to get my ass in the seat one day soon. It's been a great year supporting race series around the country. My wife and my children have been really good in following me around. My friends have actually come to support on events too. Yeah, we've been around the country. Work's been busy. Goodwood has to be a highlight for me every time, and here you'll see one of my favourite cars of Goodwood. Just listen to that noise. As you'll see, Meg was ever supportive and calling me sad. Here's the stand at Goodwood. It was great to entertain some high caliber guests and show them what we do. And I thank Attractive Suspension for allowing race shocks and myself to be part of the stand at Goodwood. So we're on the road and we're travelling. We're on the M5 heading south. Made it through the hustle and bustle of the M4 and the mad traffic there is. We're heading south. We've got 800 brake horsepower in the boot of the Vito. Well in the Vito, but 800 brake in the boot. Where are we going? Exciting times. Big things happening. We're back in about an hour's time. So once you're watching, get those cogs thinking of where we're going. It's down south. Just pulling up at our final destination to a float. You hadn't guessed it, we're at Extreme Race Cars. Come to see Russ Shepherd and the boys. And yeah, time to reveal what we have been copiously spending money on, to be honest. So picture the scene. I just finished my lunch on the 10th of September at 2:10, and I logged onto Facebook to see Cameron Mills' chassis for sale. What's that all about? So I logged onto my bank, thought, Jesus, what am I doing? Anyway, a few phone calls later, I find myself, kind of paying deposit and being the now owner of Cameron Mills' chassis. What the hell am I doing? Have I lost the plot? Seems that way anyway. Anyhow, we'll get to that in a minute. Before we knew it, round 5 of the British Autograss series was upon us, at the amazing Border Counties Raceway. My favourite by far. Proper dirt, flat out, pinned sideways. This would be the last event that Cameron would use the chassis for. It was agreed, and I was happy with that. The more relevance to this event was that I actually used this event to break the news to Meg that I'd bought Cameron's car. Whilst walking on up through the pits at Border Counties, we stood next to Cameron's car. I said to Meg, "Do you like this car?" She said, "Yeah, it's one of my favourites." I looked at her and I went, "Thank God for that, because I've bought it." She didn't quite believe me at first. So, you may ask, why have you bought Cameron Mills' chassis? Well, the simple answer is, why not? It's an awesome car. The other positives in this is that we supply Cameron with his Penske dampers, and the car, in my opinion, is one of the best handling cars in the Class 7 field. My thoughts in all this is that, no, I'm not flush enough to afford Penske dampers. However, I can valve my nitron dampers to be very close to what he has. It also means that I've got one less thing to consider when I'm actually trying to develop and race this car. The handling should be sorted. It's a shame perhaps we can't say the same about the driving. With all that said and done, we dropped everything off at Extreme Race Cars for Russ to work out how he's going to shoehorn this setup into the back of the pickup. First things first, Russ got the engine package on the scales to see what it weighed. It weighed a staggering 178 kilos, which, if I'm honest, I was a little upset about because I thought it was going to be a bit lighter than that. You could see the cogs turning in Russ's head as he stood looking at the package, thinking, it's quite small, but it's quite bloody heavy. However, if there's one man to do the job, it'll be Russ and the boys at Extreme Race Cars. I really look forward to going to collect the car. And in this picture, you'll see the big cheesy grin on my face. Sort of didn't feel real that I'd bought this chassis. In the next episode, we look at what's involved to prepare an old Austin Mini into a pickup for an Autograss Class 7. Sneaky little peek there of the colour schemes for next year. Thank you all for watching, and if you're interested in sponsoring a video or supporting us for next year's race season, please drop us an Instagram message or a Facebook message.